Hello learners, welcome to measuring length, our topical revisions. This happens to be the first topic in your Igcse physics. Alright, so we're going to look at different questions based on measuring length. Okay, so without further ado, let's look at question number one. Question number one is saying a piece of cotton is measured between 2 points on a ruler. So we are given a ruler which is calibrated in centimeters. Okay, and it continues to say when the length of cotton is wound closely around a pen, it goes around 6 times. All right, so we have the piece of cotton thread which is wound around a pen, and it goes around 6 times. If you count this, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Okay, so we are asked to say the distance once around the pen. What is the distance once around the pen? In other words, when the thread goes around the pen once, how much distance does the thread cover? Okay, that's what we are asked to do. So what you need to do here is just to find the length of this cotton thread, and in order to find the length of the cotton thread, what you need to do is you need to know the length, the reading here at that point. You need to know the reading at this point and the reading at this point. Okay, and then we subtract the two readings. That will give us the length of the thread. Okay, so if you check here, the reading there is this is 15, this is 15, this is 16. That means halfway between is 15.5. Yeah, so this must be 15.7. 15.7. It should be 15. Let's look at this closely and see very closely. 15 point. This is 15.5, 15.6. Yeah, so it should be 15.6. So the reading here is 15.6. Yeah, and the reading over here should be 15. Sorry, not 15, but 2.4. This should be 2.4. So therefore the length is going to be 15.6 minus 2.4, which is if you subtract 15.6 minus 2.4, you should get 13. This should be 13.2. Okay, so that's the whole length of the thread. But then we are told that the cotton thread is wound around a pen closely. So what is the distance once round the pen? So to find the distance once, we simply have to divide this length, which is 13.2, divided by 6, because we are told that the cotton thread goes 6 times around the pen. So what is the distance round the pen. Okay, so just divide 13.2 by 6. This must give us 2.2. So the answer therefore is A. The answer is A. Alright, question number 2. A decorator wishes to calculate the area of a bathroom tile so that he can estimate the amount of adhesive that he needs to use or to buy. Okay, so we have here a tile. A tile usually is rectangular in shape. So the decorator would like to determine the amount of adhesive that he has to buy in order to stick the tiles in the bathroom. All right, so we need to calculate this area. All right, so what is area? Area is just a surface occupied by a body. So it's the amount of surface. In this case, we need to find this area. So this being rectangular, we are assuming that the tile is rectangular, has a rectangular shape. Has length as well as width. And so to calculate area, we needed to know the length, and then you need to know the width, and then multiply them, the two. So the question is here saying, what must he use? In other words, what instrument does he need to use? Must he use? Okay. So since we're talking about length here, obviously a measuring cylinder cannot be used for that intention, for that purpose. A ruler only. Yes, a ruler can be used to measure length as well as width. Okay. Measuring cylinder and a clock only. Measuring cylinder does not measure length. So measuring cylinder usually measures volume of liquid, and the clock measures time. So there's no need to measure volume here and time, therefore C cannot be the answer. A measuring cylinder and a ruler only? No. A ruler, yes, but a measuring cylinder, no. So the correct answer is B. The correct answer is B. A ruler only can be used to measure the length, and then you calculate the area by simply multiplying the length and the width. You find the answer there. Number 3. Diagram shows a thick rolled tube. So we have a tube here. The thickness of the wall is 3 millimeters. Okay. This thickness being referred to is this part. This part here. That's 3 millimeters. This one is 3 millimeters. Okay. So the thickness being 3 millimeters. Okay. So we have a ruler here. Being used to measure the thickness, rather the diameter. Here the intention is to find this diameter here. So what is the internal diameter of the tube? In other words, what's the value of D? Okay, what's the value of D? So for us to find the value of D, what we need is to find the total diameter, the external diameter, minus the thickness. Okay, so we take the external diameter, the whole of this, take this whole length, this one, alright, if you know that, and then subtract the thickness from both sides. Alright, so let's find this whole distance and see what we get. So going by our ruler here, can clearly see that this is 3 centimeters, then 4, then 5, and so on. Okay, so that means the reading along this length is simply 4. This is 4, and the reading along this length is 7.4. 7.4. That means the diameter, the external diameter, or the distance from the one end, here we are looking at this distance from here, from this point to this point, is supposed to be 7.4 subtract 4, which is 3.4. But then we are asked to find just D, the internal diameter. So I was saying that in order to find the internal diameter, we take the whole distance from one end, from this end here, from this point to this point, the whole of it, which is 3.4, and then subtract the thickness. So the thickness is 3 millimeters. This is 3 millimeters. This end is also 3 millimeters. Okay, so to find the internal diameter, therefore, we simply add the two thicknesses, which is 6 millimeters, and we convert to centimeters by dividing by 10. So we have 0.6. So subtract 3.4 minus 0.6, it should give us 2.8 centimeters. So therefore the answer is A. The answer is A. Alright, I hope we're together there. Question number 4. Some liquid is heated in a flask. The diagrams show the height of the liquid in the tube when the liquid is cold and when it is hot. Alright, so we have the liquid in a flask. The liquid in a flask, when it's cold, the height of the liquid is this one here. Okay, and when it is hot, because when liquids are heated, they expand. So the liquid expands through the tube, and it goes up to that point there. Okay, so the question is asking us to to state the difference in the heights. So the difference in the heights is simply referring to this height here. I mean this change. Okay, we need to find this change. Okay, so in this case, for us to find the change, let's call this H2 and this H1. So we need to subtract H2, subtract H1. Okay, so H2 from the diagram, H2 is a 4.5. So we have 4.5. 4.5 is 4.5 here, I think. Over here is 4. It should be 4.5. The reading there is 4.5. So we have 4.5. Subtracting the reading before heating, which is 1. This should be something like 1.7. Yeah, 1.7. So we subtract 1.7. Alright, so subtracting these two shall give us 8. then 3.8. So we have 3.8. Okay, so the height difference is 3.8. There should be 3.8. No, it should be 2.8 actually. Yeah. So this is 2.8. Yeah. So therefore the answer is B. Please convince yourself that you can do this calculation. Number 5, a meter rule is used to measure a length which reading is shown to the nearest millimeter. Alright, so in order for us to determine the correct value, we need to know the relationship between meter and the millimeter. Every 1 meter has 1,000 millimeters. This you must know. That means 1 millimeter, 1 mm is going to be 1/1000. Okay, so in this case we shall have 0.001. In other words, we shall have our value to 3 places of decimal. So all we have to do is look for the option that has 3 places of decimal, and that happens to be C. Okay. I hope we are moving on together there. Okay, and unless you have questions, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the comment section below. And also, if you have not subscribed to the channel already, consider doing so that you don't miss on the coming revisions. All right, question number 6. The diagram shows an enlarged drawing of the end of a meter rule. It is being used to measure the length of a small feather. So we have a feather here, whose length has to be determined. So the question is saying what is the length of the bird feather. All right, so for us to do that, we needed to know the reading here, the reading over here, and also the reading over here, and then we subtract the two values. So if you look at the ruler carefully, you see that each division is 1 millimeter. Okay, the least count is 1 millimeter. That means this must be 29 mm. Okay, and here it must be 10 mm. Then you subtract, so this length is simply the difference between 29 and the 10. Okay, so subtracting gives us 19. That means the answer to the question is A. The answer to the question is A. Number 7, a cylindrical can is rolled along the ruler shown in the diagram. So we have a can here, which is being rolled along the length of a ruler. Okay, and we are told that the can rolls over twice. Okay, the can rolls over twice. What is the circumference or distance all around of the can? Okay. What is the circumference? Circumference is simply the distance around the circular body. In this case, we are looking at this whole distance back to that point. What is the length? That's what we are being asked to work out. Okay, so in order to do that, we shall need to know the distance it has covered when it is rolled twice. And then using that information, we can calculate the distance when it has rolled once, which is equal to the circumference of the can. Okay, so to find the distance it has covered, we need to know the reading here. The reading there must be 28. So this is 28. The reading over here must be 2. This one must be 2. This is 2. Sorry, this must be 2. Okay, so that means the distance it has covered is going to be 28. Subtract 2, which is 26. Yeah, but we are told that it has rolled twice, so to find the circumference C, we simply divide the distance covered, which is 26, divided by 2, which is 13 centimeters. So in this case, the answer is 13, which is A. All right. Number 8, a student measures the length of a rod XY by holding it next to the meter rule. So we have a meter rule here. The student writes down the length as 94.8. Which statement is correct? Okay, which statement is correct? So first, before we proceed, we need to know the actual length. What is this length? The length of the rod, we need to find it first. Okay, so to do that, we need to know the value here, the reading there. This reading must be 97. So here it's 97. Over here it's 97. This must be 97. Over here, that's 97. And the not 97, I beg your pardon. This should be 99.7. Yes, this should be 99.7. 99.7. And over here, this should be 90 what? This is 94. This is 94.5. 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. So this is 94.8. Okay, so the length therefore will be 99.7 subtract 94.8. Yeah, so we have 17, that's 9. And then we have 4 remaining here, 8 subtract 4, that's 4.9. So this is 4.9 centimeters. The length is 4.9 centimeters, but take note, the student has recorded the reading as in 94.8, which means she got it wrong. Okay, so let's go through the options. It's saying the value is correct. A is saying the value is correct. No, it's not correct because we just found it is 4.9 centimeters. Therefore, it's not correct. So it cannot be A. The value is incorrect because it should be 95.2. No, it's actually 94. I mean, it's actually 4.9. So it's not correct. It shouldn't be 95.2. It should be 4.9. Okay, so B is not the answer. C is saying the value is incorrect because it should be in millimeters. No, even if you put it in millimeters, even if you put this in millimeters, if you put it to 94.8 in millimeters, it is going to be 948 millimeters, which is again wrong. The correct answer in millimeters should be 49. Just multiply by 10 millimeters to be millimeters. So it's not C either. Okay, now let's look at D. D, the value is incorrect because the student should subtract the reading for end Y from the reading from end X. Yeah, so that's what we just did in order to find the answer which we got. So it's D. Okay. Number 9. The diagram shows part of a ruler. The ruler is used to find the length of a nail. Okay, so what is the issue? The issue here is what is the length of the nail. We need to find the length of the nail. And once again, to do that, we need to know the reading there as well as the reading over here and subtract. Okay, so the reading here, at this point, if this is 1, 2, then this must be 3, and this must be 3.5, and this is 4. So this must be 3.7. So we have 3.7 over there, and then we have 1 here. So the length, therefore, is going to be 3.7 subtract 1, which is 2.7. The answer is B. The answer is B. Number 10, and of course the last one. What is the most accurate and precise method for measuring thickness of a coin? Okay, let's just go through the options. So the first option is saying use a micrometer screw gauge. Okay. B, use a ruler and look at the scale perpendicularly. C, use a top pan balance. D, use the displacement method with water in a measuring cylinder. Okay, so if you look at the B, C, and the D, all these are incorrect because a ruler is too big to measure the thickness of a coin, so it cannot be B. C, why is C is not correct? Use a top pan balance. A top pan balance measures mass, and here the question is talking about thickness, which is length. So we cannot use a top pan balance. Therefore, C is incorrect. D, use the displacement method with water in a measuring cylinder. This method is used for measuring the volume of an irregular shape. Therefore, it cannot be C. So the correct answer is A. All right, so thank you very much. It has been a pleasure taking you through this revision. This just length. Please do more of this. Get to past papers, look at the questions based on this topic, and develop confidence in the topic. When we meet again, we are going to be looking at another topic and the related questions related to it. My name is Mr. Pochilola once again. Please consider subscribing to the channel so that you don't miss on any questions or revisions as they come. Thank you very much for now. Bye.